Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, cool. Hi, everybody. My name is Nguyen, and I did my RISE project on the effect of living arrangement on emotional closeness in middle-aged adults during COVID-19. So the grad students that worked with me are Leah Ferguson, Pamela Scheffler, and we did all this under Dr. Rachel Wu's Cala lab. Okay, so this study really focuses a lot on middle-aged adults, and the study took place during COVID-19. So we're just going to get a little background on both of these. So middle-aged households are pretty unique because middle-aged generations are sandwiched in between their kids and their parents. And an interesting statistic to back that up is that 47% of middle-aged adults take care of their parents and their kids. And parents typically get along with their co-resident children, and this might play into emotional closeness later on. And in terms of COVID-19 on family relationships, it kind of worked like a double-edged sword. So COVID-19 forced everyone to quarantine at home. So families were forced to be together in one environment when they were typically doing their own thing outside. And this made them interact a lot more, which helped their relationship build a little bit. But at the same time, it was pretty stressful because they're not used to being so close to each other all the time. And there's like a lack of boundaries. And that was very stressful. In terms of broader social impacts, though, COVID-19 had increased feelings of isolation and loneliness. So a study done by Al-Hamidi found that participants who were quarantined with people that had good relationships with them were able to have less loneliness, but it was obviously self-reported. But people that were quarantined with people they had bad relationship with often had more loneliness. And this might be tied to emotional closeness because loneliness is the absence of emotional attachment. And emotional attachment or emotional closeness is just how close an individual is to another individual. Now, the purpose of this study is to identify if the type of living arrangement a middle-aged person has affects their emotional closeness with the people they live with, especially during COVID-19. We think that living with a spouse will have a stronger effect on emotional closeness for middle-aged adults compared to living with family, other family, or non-family. So how did we get here? So last year, actually, during peak COVID time, a survey was given out to approximately 400 residents in the Riverside and San Bernardino counties. And it had over 200 questions about well-being, depression, how socially connected they were, and a lot more. Of this 400 participants, though, 122 of them were middle-aged adults, and that's what this study focuses on. So we're going to be looking at their demographics. So from their demographics, we can see that there's a mean age of 49.63 years old. 75.5% of them were female, and a majority of them were high income, where high income is making more than $100,000. We can also see in the pie chart that approximately like 55% of them were white. So these are the basic demographics. In terms of measures, though, I'm going to be focusing on the three main questions and factors that we studied. So for living arrangement, we just asked, which of the following best describes your living arrangements now? And options were living alone, living with spouse or partner, other family, not family, and prefer not to answer. For household number, it was pretty simple. We just asked, not including yourself, how many other people are currently living in your household? And the participants could just choose 0 to 15 people. For emotional closeness, we just asked of the people living in your household, how emotionally close do you feel to them? Options were 0 to 10, 0 being not emotionally close, 10 being extremely emotionally close. And once we compiled the results, we did an ANCOVA test. So emotional closeness was rated on a scale of 0 to 10. Our fixed factor was living arrangement. And we had 3 groups for this. So the original options had 5, and we combined living with other family and non-family because the groups were small. And we also filter out the people that were living alone because there's no way you can have emotional closeness if you're just by yourself. For household number, we also combine all of the groups that are 3 or more members, and then we have 0 members, 1 to 2 members, and 3 or more. So from our ANCOVA, we found that there was a significant main effect of person you live with on the emotional connectedness you have, such that living with a spouse does increase your emotional closeness compared to living with other family or even non-family. So partial eta squared is the effect size, and we have a partial eta squared of 0.087 here, which means the living with a spouse or a partner has a medium effect on emotional closeness. So now that we know living with your spouse may help foster more emotional intimacy than living with others, we can use that for dealing with like COVID-19 stress, because as we all know, it was a pretty distressing time and we were unsure of what was going to happen. And we think this effect may be caused by middle-aged couples being together for a long period of time, so they deal with obstacles together and also happy moments, so their emotional intimacy grows. But they don't have this kind of relationship with their kids, and especially during COVID, because they're together for so long, they might have strains in their relationship. So we think that's why this might happen, but further research may investigate why this effect was found, and they can even look into the stresses of middle-aged generation from child or elder caretaking. So that's all I have for you today. I'd like to thank like the B2B program, the RISE program, CalaLab, and all the funding. And I'm ready to take questions now.
Thank you so much, Cindy.